The clothing that you guys are wearing on your very backs right now could somehow end up on somebody in third world country. This is because of fast fashion. In a more simpler term, fast fashion is the fast production of clothing for a cheap and very low price. According to WRI.org, clothing production has approximately doubled in the last 15 years, and a majority of that clothing production is due to fast fashion. This is an important topic to be aware of because everybody buys clothes. This is something that you're purchasing literally all the time and something that we wear. And I feel as if it's important for people to know where the products that they purchase are coming from or how they're made. To understand fast fashion just a little better, we're going to speak on how it works, the controversy behind it, and the reaction that the industry has had due to that controversy. Fast fashion functions because of supply chain management. Supply chain management is basically managing the flow of goods and services within the retail world. Managing all these things within that system results in excess cost cuts, which means basically like retailers don't have to spend so much money on the products that they want to purchase and buy and put on their stores or on the materials, and has faster delivery results as well. It also allows for new designs to be created as soon as possible too. Many of this clothing is produced overseas, India and China being the number one clothing manufacturers in the world. Now that you guys have an idea on what fast fashion is, you can now understand why you guys may always want to buy it. It's trendy, there's new styles, and it's inexpensive, and it's easily accessible and quick. Some of the top 2 fast fashion retailers in the world are H&M and Zara. Zara actually happens to be one of the companies from the parent company Inditex, which is a Spanish company that was originated in Spain. Zara can produce new garments in up to or less than 15 days. Usually, to make new clothing back in the day, it would take forever for somebody to have their design turned into something physical and then be brought into the store. So to have new things in 15 days, it's a pretty big deal. Zara also gets new stock 2 times per week, which is also something that most stores can't really relate to. Most stores may get new stock like every once a week or once every 2 weeks, but Zara happens to be pretty much the only one that can get new items and new stock twice a week. Now that you have a better understanding of what fast fashion is, we're going to get into the controversy. Many people believe that fast fashion has human rights violations and causes environmental harm. So for human rights, there are many underpaid workers. Most of these workers are paid 39 cents per day, which is really nothing. But they don't have a choice. Not to mention that the New York Times states that 13 million people work in factories within the supply chain alone. So a majority of those 13 million people are not getting paid well. They also tend to work in harmful or abusive working conditions. They have to be in those factories for very long hours with little to no breaks. They have to work in a dusty and dirty environment. And there happen to be a lot of factory fires as well. One of the biggest factory fire incidents was the Rana Plaza accident in Bangladesh on April 24th, 2012. This killed 1,127 people and left many people under the rubbish. This tends to happen a lot, but now there's a little bit of change. People also believe that fast fashion causes environmental harm as well. They believe that it's very wasteful because a majority of the garments are ending up in landfills. When we think that the clothing that we donate to the Salvation Army and places like that, we think that they're going to people that actually need them. But in reality, only 15% of the clothing that we're giving is being given to people. The rest of that is just put and dumped onto land and just going to sit there forever. And it takes years for clothing to decompose, so it's going to just be sitting. They also find it wasteful because there's very limited garment life when it comes to clothes. Well, fast fashion clothing. According to UNenvironment.org, the number of times a garment is worn has declined by 36% in the last 15 years. This is because fast fashion is basically based on just consuming, and it's not really worried about quality. So basically, you're not going to get that much wear on things that you buy from Zara or anything, which I don't know if you've noticed, but clearly. Fast fashion also tends to be is the second largest consumer of water supply as well. Just to make one shirt uses 3250 liters of water. Fast fashion, they believe, also creates a lot of pollution as well. There's a lot of toxic waste runoff that runs in the ocean, such as mercury or arsenic. And the fabrics in our clothing are made with microfibers. So that plastic goes in the ocean, which clearly pollutes. There are also greenhouse gases that are released into the air and carbon emissions due from all the factories that are powered by coal. So due to these controversial issues, there have been changes in the fashion industry. Retailers have sustainable clothing collections, like H&M has their conscious little line. They now encourage customers to recycle material, and they do so themselves. They use old materials now for new garments, and now they also use organic materials as well. They don't use fertilizers on the materials anymore, and instead they use natural grown cotton. We reviewed fast fashion, basically how it operates and the controversy behind it, and how the industry has reacted to that controversy. Now, the next time when you go into a store, you'll know the meaning behind the clothing that you buy.